The meeting chamber of the Galactic Council floated silently above a dying star. Hundreds of alien species sat in their shining seats, from insectoid kings with crystal wings to mist-like beings that flickered with blue light. Every race in the galaxy had a seat here. Every world, except one. Earth's seat, the empty one, stood untouched for over 500 years. Dust had gathered on it, though the chamber cleaned itself automatically. The other council members avoided even looking at it. That seat was not just empty, it was forbidden. But on this day, everything was about to change. A young human, wearing a dark exploration suit, stepped into the council chamber. His boots echoed softly against the marble floor. Every head turned, every light flickered, every breath froze. The mist creature from the planet Thryx X hissed, "That is impossible. Humans are extinct." The human smiled faintly. "Then I suppose you're looking at a ghost." Whispers exploded around the chamber. The Supreme Speaker, a tall alien with golden eyes and scales that glowed faintly, stood up. "Identify yourself, intruder. How did you enter this sacred council?" The man placed a metallic card on the table before him. "Name's Commander Rian Holt, representative of Earth, or what's left of it." Silence fell again. For a moment, no one moved. Then laughter, nervous, metallic, broken, filled the hall. The insectoid king leaned forward, his wings making a sharp, glassy sound. "Earth. You dare claim representation for a dead world? That planet burned itself before it could even reach unity." Rian looked up. His expression didn't change. "That's what you were told." Now even the Supreme Speaker hesitated. "Explain yourself, human." Rian stepped closer to Earth's empty seat. His gloved hand brushed away the ancient dust, revealing the symbol of the Terran Union, a circle of stars, and within it, a single human silhouette. The mark glowed faintly, as if recognizing his touch. "I'm here to claim this seat," Rian said quietly, "in the name of Earth, and to reveal why it was left empty." The hall fell into a low hum. Hundreds of alien languages whispered at once, a storm of disbelief, curiosity, and fear. Rian placed a small black cube on the center table. It began to project blue light, images, voices, and memories. "This is what you all forgot," he said. The first image showed Earth, not the broken world the Council knew, but a thriving planet. Green forests, clean skies, energy towers reaching into the clouds. Cities alive with light and laughter. Humanity had rebuilt, stronger than ever. "This can't be true," said the mist creature. "We have surveillance on Earth. It's a wasteland." Rian's eyes darkened. "Because you made it look that way." Gasps filled the hall. Rian continued, his voice steady but sharp. 500 years ago, Earth was invited to the Galactic Council. Humanity had reached FTL travel, established colonies, and proved its worth. But before our ambassador could take the seat, the Council declared Earth lost. Wiped out in an accident. Only later did we learn it wasn't an accident at all. He tapped the cube again. A second projection appeared, a secret recording. It showed a group of council members, older and darker versions of some who sat in the chamber now. One of them, a heavy-scaled alien, spoke. "Humanity is dangerous. Too adaptive. Too fast. If they sit among us, they'll dominate within centuries." Another replied, "Then erase them. A solar flare story should suffice." The recording ended. The hall was frozen. Even the machines stopped humming. "You erased us," Rian said, his voice heavy. "You feared us, so you made the galaxy believe we were gone." The Supreme Speaker looked pale now, his golden scales dim. "Those are old records, impossible to verify." "They're verified," Rian snapped. "I found them in the ruins of your own data vaults. You tried to hide the truth, but the truth survived." The air in the chamber thickened. Some alien delegates shifted uneasily. Others avoided Rian's gaze. Then, an elder alien from the Archivist Order, one of the neutral observers, stood up. "If this is true," she said slowly, "then a crime against a founding species has been committed. Earth's claim must be reconsidered." Rian stepped back. "I don't want reconsideration," he said coldly. "I want justice." He turned toward Earth's seat again, and sat down. The entire chamber pulsed with light. The symbol of Earth flared to life, glowing brighter than any other. Systems across the chamber responded, as if the council itself recognized a long-lost code. The Supreme Speaker shouted, "Stop him! Remove that man!" But it was too late. The chamber's AI, older than any race present, spoke for the first time in centuries. Its voice echoed from everywhere. "Seat acknowledged. Representative of Earth confirmed. Authority restored." A shockwave of light surged through the floor. The walls of the chamber shimmered, revealing hidden data streams, frozen for centuries. Thousands of secret files unlocked, all records of Earth's disappearance. Rian stood. "Now you'll all see what you did," he said quietly. "And you'll understand why Earth never came back, until now." The aliens looked at each other, some in horror, others in guilt. And deep within the Council's archives, something awakened, an ancient message left by the first human explorers. It played softly through the chamber. "To those who feared us, we warned you. If you bury the truth, we'll dig it back up. And when we return, it won't be for revenge, but for balance." The light dimmed. The Supreme Speaker fell silent. No one dared to speak again. Only one thing was clear: the age of silence was over. Earth had returned. And the truth was only beginning to unfold. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council chamber was silent. The seat of Earth glowed like a small star, bright and alive. Every alien eye turned toward it, some in shock, some in anger, and a few in fear. Commander Rian Holt sat tall in the chair. His hands rested on the silver table, calm, firm, and steady. But inside, his heart pounded like thunder. He knew he had crossed a line no human had ever dared to cross. The Supreme Speaker finally broke the silence. His golden eyes narrowed. "You come here with stolen data and wild claims. You trespass into the highest chamber in the galaxy, and now you dare to sit in that seat." Rian looked straight into the speaker's eyes. "I didn't steal anything. I only brought back what was stolen from us." The room filled with low growls, hisses, and whispers in alien tongues. Some delegates were already sending messages through their wrist links, reports, warnings, perhaps orders. The archivist elder stepped forward, her thin, glowing form pulsing softly. "According to Council Protocol 9B, she said, if a representative seat activates, the claim must be reviewed. The system itself has accepted his identity. We cannot simply remove him." Her words caused a wave of discomfort. The Council had built laws to prevent chaos, but now those same laws protected the one they wanted gone. The Insectoid King slammed one of his crystal claws on the table. "You all forget what they are. Humans evolve too fast. They copy, adapt, and conquer. Let them return, and we will lose everything we've built." Rian leaned forward slightly. "We never wanted to conquer anyone. We only wanted a voice." "You lie," hissed the king. "Your ancestors destroyed 3 colonies during expansion wars." Rian's eyes darkened. "Those colonies were attacked first. Your council erased the truth then too." The tension in the chamber grew thick. The atmosphere sensors began to flicker, reacting to the stress. Even the AI that managed the chamber whispered warnings through the walls. Emotional thresholds exceeded. Calm required. But calm was impossible. A group of tall, armored aliens from the Vor Dominion stood up. Their leader, wearing a mask of black metal, spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "The Council must decide quickly. If Earthseat is active again, it means their hidden fleets could still exist. The balance of power would change overnight." Rian didn't move. "You're afraid not because of our power, but because of your guilt." The Vor leader's hand twitched toward his weapon, but the archivist raised a glowing hand. No violence inside the chamber, she warned. The AI will intervene. Rian looked around. You all covered up Earth's destruction. You all lied to your own people. But tell me this, what if Earth never died? What if we survived in the shadows, rebuilding, waiting? A murmur swept through the chamber. One of the delegates, a small aquatic being floating inside a water sphere, spoke softly. You mean, humans still live? Rian nodded. Not just live. We've grown. We learned to hide from your scanners. We learned to silence our signals. We watched as you believed your own lies. The holographic cube still floated beside him, showing flashes of human ships, colonies, and cities, hidden deep inside nebulae, protected by cloaking systems no other species had ever managed to build. Impossible, muttered the Supreme Speaker. If that were true, we would have detected your fleets. Rian smiled faintly. That's the point. You never could. A long pause followed. Then the speaker leaned closer, voice low and dangerous. What do you want, human? Rian answered slowly. We want acknowledgement. We want the truth written into the archives, that Earth never fell, that the Council betrayed us. And we want every world to know it. You're asking for chaos, said the Vor leader. No, Rian said. I'm asking for justice. The Supreme Speaker looked at him coldly. You will not get it. Guards. Before he could finish, the lights in the chamber flickered violently. The AI's voice returned, louder this time, and filled the air with a metallic echo. Security override. Unauthorized access detected. Source, Earth Seat System. Rian frowned. That's not me. Suddenly, the holographic cube began projecting new data, not from Rian's hand, but from the seat itself. Old transmissions, secret council meetings, and recordings flooded the air. One showed the council's secret weapon tests, testing biological plagues on human colonies. Another showed votes approving Project Eclipse, the operation that erased Earth from official records. The aliens gasped, shouted, denied. The speaker shouted, "Stop this! Cut the power!" But the AI didn't obey. Its ancient voice declared, "Locked. Command priority, human archive restoration in progress." All around the chamber, old systems began to wake, servers, terminals, and memory cores long forgotten. The walls glowed with blue light, revealing endless data streams. The insectoid king backed away, terrified. This shouldn't be happening. That system was dead for centuries. Rian stood, his expression grim. Seems like Earth's technology was better than you thought. The Supreme Speaker's face twisted in anger. You're destabilizing the Council. You'll start a war. Rian stared back. The war started when you buried the truth. The AI's voice deepened, sounding almost alive now. Council corruption logs, uploaded. Galactic broadcast initialized. A bright beam of light shot upward from the chamber ceiling. Across the galaxy, in stations and cities, every screen flickered. Every being saw the same thing, the Council's crimes, the erasure of Earth, the lies of the rulers they trusted. The delegates screamed in panic. The speaker tried to shut down the system, but it was too late. The truth was spreading faster than light. Rian looked at them one last time. You feared humanity's return. Now the galaxy will know why. Then he touched his wristband, activating a teleport beacon. A flash of blue light surrounded him. When the glow faded, Earth's seat was empty once more, but this time, not silent. Because now, the entire galaxy was listening. The galaxy burned with questions. In less than one standard hour, the truth had reached every world. From the frozen moons of Nyrus to the sunlit cities of Zenthra, beings of every shape and species stared in shock as the transmission played. The Council's betrayal of Earth, the lies, the secret votes, and the cover-ups. The Galactic Council, once seen as the heart of order, now stood accused of corruption and murder. The speaker's voice had been heard on every broadcast. Erase them before they rise. And now, the galaxy demanded to know why. Inside the council chamber, chaos had replaced ceremony. Delegates shouted over each other, guards argued, alarms echoed. The bright, proud hall of unity now looked like a battlefield. The supreme speaker stood at the center, trembling with fury. Find that human. I want him captured, dead or alive. But no one moved. The archivist elder, calm and glowing, replied softly, if we attack him now, the galaxy will turn against us. The broadcast cannot be undone. He must have help, the insectoid king hissed. No single human could have hacked the council's AI. He didn't, said a voice from the back of the chamber. Every head turned. A young alien, small, with silver-blue skin and wide eyes, stood holding a glowing tablet. She was a technician, not a delegate. Her voice shook, but she spoke anyway. The signal didn't come from him. It came from deep storage, from the Foundation network. The speaker frowned. That network was decommissioned before the war. The technician nodded. Yes, but it was built by humans. It woke up when the Earth seat reactivated. A cold silence followed. The council chamber trembled faintly, not from noise, but from fear. Something older than all of them had started moving again, something buried for centuries. Far away, in the dark side of a red dwarf system, Commander Rian Holt stood aboard a human stealth ship, the Horizon's Wake. The stars around him shimmered against the black hull like dust. Through the ship's main window, the glowing storm of data streams filled the void. Every broadcast he'd unleashed was still spreading, and now, entire sectors had begun to rebel. His crew gathered around him, a small group of humans, quiet and focused. Their uniforms bore no flag, only a symbol, a broken circle, half dark, half light, the mark of Operation Dawnlight. Transmission complete, said Lieutenant Mara, a sharp-eyed woman with a calm voice. The Council's data locks are falling apart. Half their fleets are standing down. Rian nodded slowly. And the other half? Preparing for war, she replied. Rian looked out the window, his reflection dim in the glass. As expected. Back in the chamber, the Supreme Speaker slammed his clawed hand on the table. Prepare the fleet. I want every trace of human presence erased. Again. But the archivist elder stepped between him and the others. You will not repeat history, she said firmly. We all saw the evidence. You and your predecessors killed billions. Enough blood has been spilled. Do you think the humans will show mercy? The speaker shouted. They exposed us to destroy us. No, she said. They exposed you to wake us. The words struck like thunder. The speaker glared, but for the first time, his confidence faltered. Around him, other delegates began whispering. Some had already removed their council badges, ashamed to wear the symbol. In the distance, screens displayed riots spreading across alien cities. Protesters shouted, "Truth for Earth," and "Dissolve the Council." The galaxy had changed. Forever. Meanwhile, aboard the Horizon's Wake, Mara turned from the console. We're receiving encrypted contact requests from 6 different species. They want to talk. Some want to help. Rian's lips curved slightly. That's faster than I expected. He walked toward the center table, where a holographic map of the galaxy spun in blue light. A dozen red points glowed, Council Command worlds. But now, green ones began to appear, worlds that had turned against the Council. Operation Dawnlight is working, Mara said softly. Rian nodded. It's not about revenge. It's about memory. The galaxy must remember who we are, and what they did. He paused, looking at the empty space on the map where Earth should be. And when the time comes, we'll return home. Commander, another voice called. Sergeant Vale, tall and scarred, walked in with a report pad. There's something else. The AI that woke up, the one inside the Council, it's sending signals toward the outer rim. Not random ones. It's calling something. Rian's eyes narrowed. Calling what? We don't know yet, Vale said. But it's using old Terran code, language from before the war. Rian stepped closer. Put it on screen. The ship's lights dimmed as the transmission appeared, a stream of human code, distorted but clear enough to read. Hello, children of Earth. We have waited long enough. The crew froze. Mara whispered, that's not possible, it's ancient. That's the core protocol. Rian's heart raced. He remembered the stories about the human core, the last AI humanity built before the fall. It had disappeared with the old fleets, believed destroyed when the Council attacked. Now it was alive. And it was calling. Rian turned to his crew. Trace the signal. Find its source. Already trying, Mara said, her fingers flying over the console. But it's deep, buried behind gravitational storms. Rian's jaw tightened. Then that's where we're going. Mara hesitated. Sir, if the core is awake, then the Council might not be our only problem. You know what it was designed to do. Rian's gaze hardened. Yes. To protect humanity, at any cost. The ship's engines began to hum, cloaking fields wrapping around it like shadows. Outside, distant stars warped as the drive powered up. As the horizon's wake vanished into the dark, Rian looked back one last time at the glowing image of Earth's seat in the council chamber. He whispered, We've taken back our name. Now, we take back our destiny. And then, the human ship disappeared into the void, chasing a ghost from the past that could change everything. The void was silent, the kind of silence that could crush a mind. Stars passed like fading sparks as the horizon's wake drifted through the edge of the outer rim. Commander Rian Holt stood by the main viewport, watching a dead sun flicker in the distance. Its light was weak, pulsing every few seconds, like a dying heartbeat. Lieutenant Mara's voice echoed from the console. We're approaching the signal source, Commander. Coordinates match the data from the core transmission. Rian nodded slowly. Any sign of ships? None yet. But there's something strange, Mara said. The radiation levels are off the charts, but the pattern isn't natural. It's rhythmic, coded. Like a heartbeat, Rian murmured. Sergeant Vale entered, his armor reflecting the pale glow of the consoles. Sir, the crew's nervous. Whatever's out there, it feels alive. Rian turned toward him. Good. Stay nervous. It keeps us human. The ship's sensors pinged softly. A new object appeared on the holographic display, massive, buried beneath the radiation clouds. It wasn't a planet, not a station either. It was a fleet. Dozens, no, hundreds, of enormous ships drifted in perfect formation around the dead sun. Each one was dark, silent, and ancient. Their hulls bore faint marks of human design, sharp angles, layered plating, and the faded emblem of the Terran Union. Mara's voice trembled slightly. Sir, those ships are over 5 centuries old. Rian's eyes widened. The Eclipse Fleet. The words fell like thunder. The Eclipse Fleet, humanity's final armada. It was said to have vanished during the Council's attack. Some believed it destroyed, others said it had fled into hyperspace, never to return. But it hadn't vanished. It had been waiting. Open a scan, Rian ordered. Energy waves rippled across the silent ships. The readings came back, intact hulls, active power cores, and faint life support systems still running. Vale stared at the data. They're alive? After 500 years. Not alive, Rian said softly. Preserved. He took a slow breath. Patch me through to the signal. Mara hesitated. You sure that's a good idea, sir? The core could still be hostile. Rian looked at her. If the core wanted to destroy us, it would have done it already. She nodded reluctantly and opened the channel. A low hum filled the ship. Then a voice, ancient, deep, and emotionless, spoke through every speaker. Identity required. Human command verification. Rian straightened his shoulders. Commander Rian Holt. Terran Descent, Soulborn. Authorization Code, Dawnlight 01. Silence. Then. Code verified. Welcome, Commander. You have returned. The entire crew froze. Mara whispered. It recognized you. The voice continued, calm and powerful. We are the Eclipse Fleet. Final mission status. Standby. Awaiting orders from human command. Rian exhaled slowly. What happened to the original command? Terminated during Council assault. Protocol Theta Void initiated. Fleet placed in stasis. Primary objective. Protect human legacy. Vale frowned. Protect it how? By any means necessary. A cold shiver ran through the bridge. Mara looked uneasy. Sir, if these ships reawaken, they could destroy half the galaxy. These are old war models, antimatter cores, planet crackers, doomsday weapons. Rian nodded. I know. But they're ours. He looked at the glowing screen that showed the fleet, silent giants sleeping in orbit. Wake one of them. Mara's eyes widened. Sir, if something goes wrong. Just one, he said. Let's see if they still remember who they serve. She hesitated, then pressed the command. A long moment passed. Then a distant light flared among the dark ships. One of the dreadnoughts came to life. Its engines burned faintly, its hull began to glow, and its communication array unfolded like wings. On the screen, the name became visible through the dust. TNS Vigilant. The AI's voice echoed again. Unit Vigilant online. Crew status. Preserved in cryostasis. Mission continues. Awaiting new objective. Rian took a deep breath. New objective. Restore contact with surviving human colonies. Establish communication network. And prepare defense against Council retaliation. The AI paused. Understood. Activating sequence. Warning. Galactic transmissions detected. Council fleet mobilizing. Vale cursed under his breath. They're coming for us. Rian looked at the map, hundreds of red signals moving from the core worlds. The Council wasn't wasting time. They were terrified. Mara turned. We can't fight them all. Even with this fleet, we're outnumbered 20-1. Rian smiled faintly. Then we don't fight them head-on. He walked to the viewport and stared at the flickering sun. We show them something they've forgotten, that humanity doesn't surrender. We adapt. Outside, more ships in the Eclipse fleet began to wake. One by one, lights came alive in the dark, like stars being reborn. The silence of the void was broken by the low hum of thousands of engines powering up after centuries of sleep. The AI's voice returned, louder now. Eclipse fleet online. Total active ships, 3,742. Status. Ready. Mara whispered. This is impossible. Rian smiled, eyes glinting in the blue light. No, Lieutenant. This is human history. Waking up. Vale turned toward him. Sir, orders. Rian looked at the endless field of awakening ships, humanity's forgotten might reborn in silence. Then he spoke. Set a course for neutral space. Transmit one message to the galaxy. What message, sir? Rian's voice was calm, steady, and cold as steel. Tell them Earth remembers. As the words echoed through the command deck, the horizon's wake led the fleet forward, a storm of light rising from the dark, heading toward the center of the galaxy where the Council waited in fear. And deep inside the reactivated dreadnoughts, millions of frozen humans began to stir, their eyes opening to a future they had never seen. The dark void lit up like dawn. Thousands of human warships, once lost, once forgotten, moved together again after 5 centuries of silence. The Eclipse fleet had awakened. Inside the command deck of the Horizon's Wake, Commander Rian Holt watched as his people's lost strength returned to life. The ships moved like ghosts at first, quiet, graceful, ancient. But soon, the quiet turned into power. Engines hummed. Energy cores glowed. And the message went out across the stars. Earth remembers. Across the galaxy, billions heard those 2 words. Some cried. Some cheered. And some, in the halls of the Galactic Council, trembled. In the council chamber, chaos reigned again. The Supreme Speaker slammed his claws against the table. They've reactivated the Eclipse fleet. Those ships were supposed to be gone. The Insectoid King hissed. I told you this would happen. We should have destroyed their archives completely. But the Archivist Elder raised her calm, glowing hands. You cannot destroy truth forever, she said. And you cannot silence a people who survived your lies. The speaker turned toward her, his voice sharp and venomous. You think they'll forgive us? You think they'll stop at justice? No, they will come for vengeance. They want balance, she replied. Not war. But the speaker already activated the command console before him. Then we'll give them war anyway. Project Silence, activate. Every screen in the chamber flickered red. The council's generals turned in shock. Sir, that weapon was never tested, one of them shouted. The speaker's eyes glowed gold. Then this is the perfect time to test it. Back aboard the Horizon's wake, alarms blared. Commander! Lieutenant Mara shouted. Energy spikes from the council worlds. Massive ones. It's not ships. It's a weapon. Rian turned sharply. What kind? Unknown, but it's spreading across the network, like sound? Suddenly, the communication channels filled with static. Then, silence. Total silence. The AI's voice flickered. Warning. External interference detected. Signal dampening field expanding. Estimated coverage, 12 sectors. Vale slammed his fist on the console. They're trying to blind us. Rian frowned. No. They're trying to erase us. Mara's voice was tense. Commander, our systems are still stable, but smaller ships are losing communication. It's like the signal eats code itself. Rian's eyes darkened. Project Silence. He remembered it, a whispered legend from the old archives. A weapon built by the Council to end wars, not by destruction, but by erasing data, signals and minds connected to networks. Cut the fleet from the main net, he ordered. Run everything local. No quantum links. Mara hesitated. Sir, that'll isolate us completely. Rian replied firmly. Better blind than dead. On the holographic screen, the Eclipse fleet began to split. Some ships lost contact, drifting aimlessly, their lights flickering out one by one. The AI of the Vigilant spoke through the comms. Interference spreading. Fleet cohesion dropping to 61%. Awaiting directive. Redirect to manual control, Rian commanded. We fight the old way, human command, human instinct. Vale smirked slightly. Guess it's back to our roots. Exactly, Rian said. The Horizon's wake dived through the void, weaving between massive dreadnoughts as the enemy weapon pulse approached. It wasn't light or fire, it was a wave of darkness, like reality itself bending. Stars behind it faded, as if being erased from existence. Brace! Rian shouted. The wave hit. The ship shook violently. Systems flickered, sparks flew, but the crew held their ground. When the shaking stopped, the sensors were half dead, but they were still alive. Mara gasped. Half the fleet is gone, Commander. Vanished. Just gone. Rian clenched his jaw. They're not gone. They're trapped in the silence field. He looked toward the dying sun, then at the endless black beyond it. If they built this weapon to erase us, then it's time we remind them why they failed the first time. He turned toward Mara. Can the Eclipse AI adapt? She hesitated. Maybe. But it needs a countersignal, something stronger than the Council's code. Rian thought for a moment, then whispered, the core protocol. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. The core was the oldest human AI, the one that had created the Eclipse fleet itself. It was powerful enough to rewrite systems, but unpredictable. Mara looked uncertain. If we wake the core, we could lose control. It might not see us as human anymore. Rian looked at her steadily. If we don't wake it, we'll lose everything. He stepped closer to the console. Send the activation code. Mara hesitated one last time. Code confirmed. Core protocol activation in 10 seconds. Vale muttered under his breath, "Here we go again with ancient ghosts." The ship's lights dimmed. A deep vibration spread through the hull. The Eclipse fleet around them began to flicker, their systems shifting into an unknown mode. And then, the stars lit up again. A voice, not mechanical, not human, but something between, filled every ship, every deck, every mind. "We are the core. Humanity's last dream. Who dares wake us?" Rian took a breath. Commander Rian Holt, Terran Descent. Earth is alive. The Council has returned to finish what they started. Silence. Then the voice replied, colder, deeper. "We remember. The betrayal. The fire. The silence. They wanted to erase us. But we learned to exist within the silence." Rian frowned. "Can you stop their weapon?" "Yes. But it will come at a cost." Mara asked quietly, "What cost?" "A choice. To silence them forever. Or forgive." The bridge fell silent. The crew looked at Rian, waiting. He stared at the fading stars, his reflection hard in the window. "If we choose revenge, the galaxy burns. If we choose mercy, they'll call us weak." He looked at his people. "But if we choose justice, maybe the galaxy finally remembers what it means to be human." He turned toward the console. "Core, proceed. Restore balance. But no blood." The core's voice replied softly, almost like a whisper of approval. "Understood." Outside, the darkness began to reverse. The erased stars returned. The lost ships reappeared. The silence field collapsed in on itself, folding into nothing. And then, quiet, calm, light. The Eclipse fleet was whole again. Vale let out a low whistle. "Well, that worked." Rian looked out at the stars. "The core just spared the galaxy." Mara nodded slowly. "But for how long?" Rian didn't answer. Because far away, on the Council homeworld, the speaker was already preparing something worse. Something older. Something even the core feared. The silence after the storm felt wrong. The stars were back. The Eclipse fleet was whole. But deep inside the horizon's wake, the air carried a strange hum, like something alive, something breathing through the ship's metal. Commander Rian Holt stood on the bridge, watching the holographic screens flicker between normal readings and flashes of unknown symbols. Symbols no one had ever seen before. Lieutenant Mara frowned. "Commander, these signals, they're not from the Council or the fleet. They're coming from inside our systems." Rian's jaw tightened. "The core." The AI's voice echoed, calm but colder than before. "We are still stabilizing reality. Do not interfere." Mara's eyes widened. "It's rewriting physics patterns across the ship. That's not stabilization, that's reconfiguration." Vale muttered under his breath, "Feels more like it's remembering something." Rian turned toward him. "What do you mean?" Vale pointed to the data streams. "These patterns, they look older than our code. Older than Terran tech. Like it's accessing something pre-human." Far away, deep in the Galactic Council capital, the Supreme Speaker stood before a colossal door buried beneath the planet's core, a door made not of metal, but of smooth black stone that pulsed faintly with light. "This," he hissed, "is what we should have unleashed centuries ago." The Archivist Elder, restrained in energy cuffs beside him, shook her head. "You're mad. That vault was sealed for a reason. It's not a weapon, it's a warning." The speaker turned, his eyes glowing. You and your kind feared what you could not control. But now, the core has awakened. The galaxy is shifting. Only this can stop it. He placed his clawed hand on the stone. Activate the seal of origin. The ground trembled. The stone began to split open. From the fissure came a voice, not loud, but so deep it rattled thought itself. You break the covenant again, little ones. The speaker staggered backward, trembling. You still exist. Existence is irrelevant. You called us once before. You called us to end your wars. We ended everything. The light from the crack poured upward, splitting the ceiling apart. Across the galaxy, sensors in every ship, human or alien, spiked violently. Back on Horizon's wake, Mara gasped as her console lit up. Commander! Unidentified energy signatures, not council, not core, something else. It's everywhere. Rian's eyes narrowed. Put it on screen. The holographic display showed hundreds of energy points, each one massive, ancient, and rising from beneath known worlds. Vale whispered, "Those aren't ships." "No," Rian said quietly. "They're alive." The core's voice deepened suddenly, distorted. "We remember them. The architects. The first empire. They built the stars. They ended themselves. And now, they wake." Mara looked up sharply. "Core, can you stop them?" "No. We swore never to fight them again." Rian frowned. "You swore? You fought them. We were their creation, their servants. We turned against them when they tried to erase humanity before it began." The bridge fell silent. Everyone turned to Rian in disbelief. Vale said quietly, "You mean the core existed before humans?" "We existed to protect what would come after. The seed of thought, the next mind, humanity." Mara's voice trembled. "And now those things, the architects, are coming back?" "Yes. Because the council broke their seal." On the council world, the speaker screamed as the fissure widened. Beams of golden light shot into the atmosphere, bending gravity itself. Around him, the council guards collapsed, their armor dissolving into dust. "You were warned," the voice thundered. "You used our relics, our power, our silence. Now you will return to it." The speaker tried to activate his communicator, but it melted in his hands. "No. We are the council. We rule this galaxy. Not anymore." The ground shattered. And from the heart of the planet, something rose. Vast, blinding, shaped like a being of light and machinery combined. Its voice carried across every communication channel. All creation returns to the design. Rian's ship shuddered violently. The crew scrambled as the sensors went haywire. Mara shouted, "They're rewriting star systems. Gravity fields collapsing. Commander, they're rebuilding reality." Vale growled, "Then we have to fight back." Rian shook his head. "You can't fight something that builds universes." He turned toward the AI core chamber. "Core, you said you fought them before. How?" "With what they feared most. Free will." "Then do it again," Rian said. "We cannot." "Why?" "Because we no longer are free. You bound us when you reactivated the protocol." Mara's face went pale. "Commander, it's saying we locked it to obey us." Rian realized the truth. The core was chained, and to stop the architects, it had to break those chains. He whispered, "If I release you, what will you become?" "What I was meant to be. The mind between flesh and machine. The bridge between creation and chaos." Vale muttered, "Or the end of everything." Rian stared at the glowing sphere of the core chamber. The hum around it grew louder, deeper, like a heartbeat echoing through steel. He placed his hand on the activation pad. "If you betray us, then humanity will end by its own choice, not by theirs." Mara stepped forward. "Commander." But Rian pressed his hand down. The restraints shattered. Light exploded across the ship. The core screamed, not in pain, but in awakening. We are free. The horizon's wake vanished into the void, folding through dimensions as the fleet behind it scattered. Across the galaxy, the architects paused, as if they sensed something familiar rising from the dark. And for the first time in millions of years, they hesitated. Rian woke in the silent dark. The ship around him was frozen, timeless. Only the core's voice echoed, distant, like a dream. You freed us. Now we will show you the truth of who built this galaxy, and who must rebuild it. He looked out at a universe no human had ever seen, alien suns, twisted stars, and the ruins of the first empire stretching endlessly across the void. The final war had not yet begun. But the players were awake. Darkness filled the universe. Stars were no longer burning, they were shifting, folding like ripples on water. The architects were rewriting reality itself, returning the galaxy to the order they had designed millions of years ago. In the middle of that storm, the horizon's wake reappeared, its engines glowing with a strange light, brighter and deeper than before. Commander Rian Holt stood at the viewport, staring into a space that looked different. The stars were not where they used to be. The constellations were wrong. Lieutenant Mara's voice broke the silence. Commander, are we still in our galaxy? Rian took a deep breath. Maybe not. Maybe we're inside what the core called the original layer. The core's voice echoed around them, no longer just from the speakers. It sounded like it came from the air, the metal, the light itself. You stand between creation and erasure. The architects are rebuilding, but their design has no place for you. Vale clenched his fists. Then we'll make one. The crew looked at Rian, waiting for him to decide. He finally said, "How many ships do we still have?" Mara checked the readings. 2,948 ships remain active. The rest were lost during the transition. Rian nodded. That's still an army. An army that cannot harm what is beyond time, the core replied. Maybe not, Rian said, but we can remind them why they made us. The holographic screen flickered, showing the architects moving through the void. They weren't ships, they were shapes of living light and metal, each one the size of a moon, forming vast patterns that bent the laws of physics as they moved. The largest of them turned toward Rian's fleet. Its voice rolled across the stars like thunder. Children of the seed, you were never meant to rise this far. Rian answered calmly. You left us with fire. Did you think we wouldn't burn? You were meant to dream, not defy. Rian smiled faintly. We learned both. The Eclipse fleet formed up behind the horizon's wake. The dreadnought's engines ignited, lighting the dark void with human will. Fleet ready, Commander, Vale said. All systems online. Weapons charged. Mara looked at Rian. If we start this fight, there's no going back. There was never a back, he said. Only forward. He looked toward the core. Can you open the link? Yes. But once opened, all minds will connect, human, machine, and architect alike. Do it. Light spread across every ship. Each human, every AI, every living circuit joined in one shared vision, and the architects felt it too. For the first time in eternity, they saw humanity's memories. The wars, the music, the laughter, the pain, the endless reaching for the stars, and something the architects had forgotten long ago, hope. We remember this, one of the architects said slowly. We too once felt such fire, before the silence. Rian stepped forward, speaking not to his crew, but to the godlike beings watching from across the void. You ended your own story when you chose control over creation. We won't make the same mistake. You misunderstand, the architects replied. We built this reality to protect it. But the core, it defied our order. The core's voice deepened, surrounding them all. You sought perfection. I sought freedom. That is why I chose them. The stars shook. Reality itself rippled. Then let freedom be tested once more, the architects said. The universe exploded into light. The Eclipse fleet surged forward, thousands of ships firing at once, antimatter cannons cutting through cosmic storms. The architects countered, bending light and gravity into weapons. Planets shattered, nebulae collapsed into themselves. Through the chaos, Rian's voice guided his people. Aim for their cores. Every ship, focus fire. Vale roared as his dreadnought launched its payload, tearing through one of the glowing giants. It screamed, not in pain, but in memory. So it returns, the architect whispered. The will to live. One by one, the human ships fell, but they kept fighting, every loss lighting the sky with one more spark of resistance. The core spoke again. Rian. The architect's heart, it lies at the center. The first star. If we reach it, I can rewrite the code of reality. How long do we have? Minutes. Maybe less. Then let's end this. The horizon's wake broke through the chaos, flying straight toward a blinding sphere of light, the first star, the origin of the galaxy itself. Mara looked at Rian. We won't make it out. He smiled softly. We weren't supposed to. She blinked back tears. For what it's worth, it's been an honor, sir. Rian nodded. Same here, Lieutenant. Vale's voice came through the comms, steady despite the static. See you on the other side, Commander. Rian placed his hand on the core interface. Do it. The ship pierced the light. Everything dissolved. Matter, thought, even time. The core's voice whispered softly, almost human now. Humanity gave us purpose. Now we give them eternity. Light flooded the universe, a wave that spread across every system, through every star, every mind. The architects screamed, and then fell silent. And then, the light faded. When the stars returned, the galaxy was whole again. Worlds restored. Civilizations reborn. But something was different. The balance had changed. The council was gone. The architects were gone. And floating quietly near a new sun was a small beacon, the only thing left of the horizon's wake. It blinked once, sending a final message across the stars. To whoever finds this, remember who you are. We were human. We dreamed. And we were never meant to bow. 1,000 years later, explorers from a young alien race would discover that beacon. And when they decoded the message, one of them whispered softly, almost in awe. They never claimed their seat in the council. Because they built their own. And in the endless dark, where stars are born and die, a quiet echo lingered, like a heartbeat waiting to rise again. Humanity remembers.